Welcome to the Best of the Immigration Answer Show. My name is Jim Hacking. I'm an immigration attorney, and we're happy to welcome you. And we want to say thank you to everyone who supports us on all our platforms, especially those who write to us on social media, follow us, and share their immigration stories with us. We're grateful to the community that we have built together and has inspired us to create this podcast. We hope you enjoy it. Victory's here. Hi, Victory.
Hello.
How are you?
Oh, I'm well, thank you.
Help you with?
So I have a question regarding my green card, and I have been married to a U.S. citizen, and so my question is, I have discovered my husband has an affair. So I'm thinking if we separated or divorce, what how can he control my green card or my citizenship?
So, first of all, I'm sorry that he cheated on you. Do you have proof of that?
Well, his family told me that he has someone. I use that as evidence. Do I need other evidence?
Well, just the fact that they told you, that's not evidence. I just mean, do you have like pictures or tracking or texting or like what I'm saying is if you had to prove to USCIS that your husband cheated on you, how would you prove it?
Well, I statement on his phone. He deleted afterwards. Um, so, and of course, and he come home late after work, and while he basically,
I'm sorry, you're breaking up. I can't hear you.
can you hear me now?
Yeah, but it keeps breaking up.
Oh, sorry. So I said he hiding his cell phone, and he would not allow me to see anything.
See, the problem with U.S. citizens cheating is USCIS then believes that's the real marriage and that yours is the fake marriage. Does that make sense?
So they think it's a fake marriage. Is that what you say?
Well, so what I'm saying is, if you go running in there and say, "Hey, my U.S. citizen spouse who sponsored me for a green card, he cheated on me," I mean, that's legit, and I can understand why someone would tell that to USCIS. But you have to think about how do they interpret that, and one of the ways that they interpret that is it makes them wonder, well, is his real relationship with the person that he's having the affair with, and is the relationship with you just to get somebody papers?
So what do you mean by do I need to prove? Do I need evidence to prove to USCIS and my husband cheated on me?
Well, let's back up. So when you married him, were you in status or were you out of status?
When I married him, I was in status. I'm Canadian, so
Okay.
I visit. Well, I have my passport and to visit United States every 6 months. So we get married. So I'm in the status.
Right. Okay. And so how long were you married before you applied for your green, or how long did you know each other before you got married?
We know each other for 9 months.
Okay. And then like how long after you got did you get a 2-year green card or a 10-year green card?
I received my green card after marriage for 2 years. After 2 years marriage.
In January of 25?
Uh, no, well, I have a 10 years green card. I have my green card start 2022.
Oh, so you have your 10-year green card already.
Right.
Oh, that's good. Okay. So that's good. So I mean, generally you're on safe ground, right? Generally you're on safe ground
Mm,
that, it's very hard for him to try to mess with your immigration status now.
mm,
He could write them a letter and say bad things about you, but
mm,
that's probably unlikely, especially if he's the one that's cheating.
mm.
So I don't know that you necessarily need to worry about that so much. Um,
Right.
so I think generally you're on good solid ground, but you need to think about your divorce. You need to think about, trying to save whatever evidence you can of him cheating, because you're going to have to explain to them why you're going to apply under the 5-year rule, right? So you got to explain everything that happened to them.
Right.
And like I said, they'll be a little suspicious because they'll wonder, do you have any sense as to how long the affair went on?
Oh, no, I have no sense, but he just confessed to me he have a pornography addiction.
Yeah.
So further down, so that's caused me suspicious.
Yeah.
Then we went to see we have a marriage counseling for quite a while.
It's good.
Yeah, he confessed it during the section in before the counselor,
Okay.
and yeah, so the counselor suggest us, separated for a while, even suggest us divorce. Even the counselor um, even suggest that.
They're like, this thing isn't going to work. So that's all good. I mean, that's all good evidence. You tried to make it work. You went to therapy.
Yeah.
Um, I think you'll be fine when it comes time to apply for citizenship, but you're just going to have to prove everything up.
What kind of evidence do I need to provide to USCIS when the
Well,
time?
I would say that you're going to have to prove that again that the marriage was real overall, and then you're going to have to prove what you tried to do to save the marriage, right? So the fact that you went to counseling, I would get those counseling records, I would get those receipts from the counselor, I would do all that stuff to prove up that the marriage was real.
Oh, I see. And right now, and Jim, I have so my husband and noticed my attitude toward his affair. So he told me, he threatened me. He said he will. We both we have a house together, and then under both our names. So he said he will take the whole house all by himself. He will not give me anything, not even a one penny
Yeah.
from the house. He said if I want to fight for that house, and then he will write a letter. He will threaten me. He gonna ruin my green card. Does he have any control on that? If
No, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Generally, he doesn't. He can try to write them a letter and he might say bad things about you. Do you have those threats? Do you have any proof of those threats?
oh yeah, I in front of my friends. Yes,
Right.
in
So,
two
so,
friends.
so when are your 5 years up? When can you apply? I guess probably 2027.
Yes, exactly.
So I would say I would focus now. I would have no more conversations with this person. No
Mm,
more. No more conversations. Are you
okay.
living together still?
Uh, well, right now we live a different address, but we have not legal separated yet.
It's okay. Did you move out or did he move out?
I moved out.
Did you update your address with the immigration service?
Yes, I did.
Good. Okay. So I would say that if I'm you, I would focus on the divorce. I would talk to a divorce attorney. I would not be intimidated by his threats to mess up your green card. And you're going to explain all that to them when you go to your naturalization interview. You probably want to have a lawyer handle your case because this is going to be more than a regular naturalization case. You're going to have to prove up the marriage. You're going to have to prove up the threats, and you're going to have to prove up the infidelity.
Oh, so how do I prove that infidelity?
Well, your testimony will be enough, but if you can get more, if his family members say he did, or if you have any, I mean, your testimony is evidence, but
Uh,
it's not the strongest evidence because it's totally self-serving. So if you can find anything that corroborates it, that would be good. If you could hire a private investigator to prove it up, that would be good. I mean, I don't know. That's a
mm,
big project, but it's doable. And
mm.
then the threats, you said, I would if I'm your lawyer, I'd get an affidavit from each friend who observed him make those threats, and I would start building the case. All
Oh,
right.
all right. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Victory. Okay, sure thing.
Thank you.
Good luck. May you have victory in your citizenship case. I wish you luck. All right.
Hello.
What's up?
Hello, sir. First of all, thank you so much for what you're doing. Really appreciate that. I'm a big fan of you, by the way.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, so this is my question. Uh, I am married. I was married to a green card. Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. I'm so sorry, sir. Let
Take a breath.
me rephrase this.
Hold on. Take a breath. Let's both take a breath.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
You're fine. You're fine. In our intake team meeting yesterday, we did a 5-minute meditation. It was great. But go ahead, Dina. Let's start over. So
Okay.
where are you from?
Okay. Okay. Originally from, oh, like right now where I live in.
Originally.
Oh yeah, I'm from Sri Lanka.
Okay. And when did you come to the United States?
I came to the United States 2012.
And what kind of a visa did you have?
Student visa.
And then you married a U.S. citizen?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
And they applied for a green card for you.
Yes, sir. And then I have my 10-year green card, but
Awesome.
unfortunately, we got divorced
Okay.
after my 10-year green card. But however, we got back together soon after getting divorced because it was impulsive decision and we loved each other so much. But we got back together and got re-engaged.
Okay.
Right now, I have applied for my citizenship.
On the 5-year rule
And
or 3-year rule?
uh, yes, sir, 5-year old.
Good. Good.
Yeah. And so now my fiance slash my ex-husband, actually the one who applied that for me,
Yeah.
and I have my interview in March. Yeah, so I am wondering if this is going to be a problem at the interview. If this story is going to have a negative reflect on my interview.
Nah. I mean, when did you how long after you got your 10-year green card did anybody file for divorce?
Little like oh little less than a year.
Okay. And then how long were you actually divorced? I guess you're still divorced, right?
Yes, sir.
When are you going to get married? Do you know?
Soon, because we were actually going to get married in 2023, but his dad died.
Okay. And you're going to get married in the United States?
Oh, yes, of course.
Are you going to get married before you go to your interview?
No, sir, no, because my interview is in this month, 22nd.
Okay. The only reason I ask is because it'll say on your naturalization certificate that you're divorced. You're okay with that?
Is that going to be a problem though? Yeah, I wouldn't mind at
No.
all because I just want because I love this country. This country has given me everything. I would be honored to be a part of this great country.
So I think you're going to be fine. To me, I would give you actually a +1 on this. I think it actually makes your overall history stronger. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. Are you going to bring him to the interview?
Yes, he's going to drive me there. If he can come inside, he will.
Yeah, he can come inside. I would even though you applied on the 5-year rule, and I'm glad that you did, I would still treat it a little bit like a marriage-based citizenship because that's how you got your green card and you got this little weird hiccup with your marriage. I might I might bring some updated evidence that shows that you're back together.
Okay, so I do have everything in place, my engagement, the pictures that we announced that on, Facebook. And then I have a one more question. Um, because you always say, just say yes, no. I love that.
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know? Yeah. So I feel like this story probably will come up because
Yep.
we were never separated. We were me and my fiance slash ex-husband together for 8 years. Even though we got divorced, we were never separate. Only for like 30 days, and then I moved back in.
Yeah.
So yeah, and he actually now he declared me as one of a dependent because he takes care of me, and I am a homemaker. So do you think is it that's going to be a problem? And if that comes up, how do I answer to that question straightforward?
Well, I like this a lot that you're asking. I'm going to pull up the N400 form real quick, and we'll go through the application and figure out where we think it's going to come up. Um, Okay, so the interview will start. They'll say you're applying for citizenship. They go over your name. They'll ask, do you legally want to change your name? They'll do your date of birth. They'll ask whether your parents ever became citizens. They'll ask a little bit of ethnicity. They'll ask your address. So your address for the last 5 years. Then they'll say, what is your current marital status? And what will you say?
I was planning to say I am legally divorced. However, I got back together with my ex-husband. Now we are engaged and live together.
Yeah. So that's exactly what I would do, except I would hate if you use the word legally divorced. I would just say divorced. Because
Okay, sir.
legally divorced seems like you're trying to sneak something past. So I would say,
Oh, okay.
other than that, I liked your answer totally. We're divorced, but I've got to tell you, it's a little bit strange, but we're actually engaged and we're getting married again.
Okay.
Do you guys have children?
Unfortunately not, but he was previously married, but he has two beautiful daughters. They are like, my stepdaughters, but they're like my own. I love them so much.
Got it. I think you're going to come across as very, very sweet. I think the officer's going to like you very, very much. And I think everything's going to
Oh, so you're gonna make me cry. Thank you so much. I try to, get hold of you for a long time. You have such a great personality. We actually really lucky to have you. Seriously. Like, this is from coming from a stranger because you don't know me.
That's all right. You're going to call us after you get it all taken care of and let us know, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you so, so, so much.
Bye, Dina. See you, kid.
Bye.
Playing the waiting game is here, though. Hello.
Good morning, Jim. How are you?
Great. How are you doing?
Good. So my question is kind of a follow-up to the gentleman before. We sent a response to a NOR back to the USCIS, and it's been 4 months now.
So this is an overseas I-130?
Yes. I spoke to you some while ago about this, but it seems like we did congressional. We're not getting any really good feedback, no response. We did the ombudsman. We're still waiting for them. We called the USCIS number, and they said we can call back in 60 days. So it's kind of like what the gentleman said before, that they give you this time to call back, but you're not getting forward with anything. So it's been going on 4 months. My question is, when is a good time to sue? And is suing costly? And what would happen when you sue? Are you going to get an answer from them? Or are you still going to be put on this waiting game thing?
Well, so let's back up a little bit. Tell me about the relationship.
So the relationship, my partner went to the country to get the visa to come back.
Wait,
because they were they're undocumented.
So it's a waiver. It's a waiver.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's back up. So you're a U.S. citizen.
Yes.
And you met your partner when?
Here in the United States.
No, I said when.
Do you need me to give a specific date? Several years ago.
A month and year.
Let's put it at 10 years ago. Yeah.
So you and your partner met 10 years ago.
Yes.
And when did you become a couple?
We became a couple about, when did we get married? We got married about 4 years into the relationship.
Okay. All right. So, and then you filed an I-130 petition for your partner.
Right.
And that got approved.
Yes.
And then you filed a 601A or a 601?
I believe it's a 601A.
And because the only really problem that they had was the unlawful entry and the overstay. They didn't have any crimes or any other reasons that they would be.
No crimes, they didn't have any problem with any of those. The problem they had was with the questions we answered at the interview.
Okay, so that's what I want to get to. So we're going to keep going. We're getting it chronological.
Yeah.
So USCIS approves the I-130. USCIS approves the 601A. Your partner makes an appointment back in the home country for an interview at the consulate. And what happens then?
And so when we left the interview, the gentleman said, leave the passport, collect it in 2 weeks. 2 weeks went by, nothing happened. So I wrote to my senator, but I wasn't, I told my senator everything, that I thought it was homophobic. I thought they were just treating me like a criminal, all that sort of stuff. It wasn't a kind letter. I didn't realize that the senator would send the actual letter to the embassy.
Which embassy was it?
It's in South America. I don't want to say specifically which.
And what makes you think that it was homophobic?
Because of the way the questions were framed, because of the type of questions that they kind of asked me.
Asked you?
Yeah, asked me because I have been married before.
Wait, are you the immigrant? Are you the beneficiary?
I'm the benefit. I am the petitioner.
Well, why were you at the interview if you're the petitioner?
Well, they called me to the interview. I think my husband got a little angry with them when he was there at the interview. So they called me to the interview.
Again, just for everybody watching, if your beneficiary spouse is going to an interview, it's really not a good idea for you to be in the country, because if you're in the country, they call you in for the interview. Nothing good happens if the petitioner is in the country. Nothing good happens if the petitioner goes to the embassy and starts talking. Did they do a Stokes interview?
Yes, they did.
Mm-hmm.
And so that went, to me, it says favorable, because when we left, the passport was held for 2 weeks, and they said, pick up your passport in 2 weeks and everything will be fine.
Hold on. Why did your spouse get mad?
I don't know. I think the way they were answering asking him the questions.
What questions are objectionable? I'm just trying to get.
I don't know, sir. I wasn't I wasn't standing there with him.
Did you ask him?
I asked him, but he said
you wrote a letter to the senator saying that the questions were objectionable. Now you're saying you don't know what the questions were.
No, sir. Let's back up. I'm saying the questions were objectionable when I went to the Stokes interview.
So the questions that they asked you.
Right, at the Stokes interview,
yeah,
the question they asked me, I thought was a little off, a little,
Did it have to do with sex?
No, it has to do with my previous marriage, because I was married to a woman before.
Okay.
So I think they found it a little suspicious.
And can I ask a question? Was that marriage to a woman the way that you got your immigration status in the United States?
Yes, it is.
So that's certainly fair game.
Okay.
So one question I have is, when they asked you to come in, was this a second interview, or was this still was it all while he was still there? Like, did they say
that was a second interview?
So he finishes his interview, and during some time in there, when he loses his temper, they figure out that you're in that country, and they say, "Hey, we're going to do another interview," and they ask both of you to come in.
No, sir. He went to the interview. I don't know. He got upset. Then they asked me to come in. I wasn't there. They sent for me to come in. I wasn't in the country at the time.
So you went all the way. So they said for you to come to the country for an interview.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
Okay. All right. And so did you talk to an attorney before you went to the interview?
I did. We have an attorney, and all he said to us was, they just want to see your face.
Well, that was wrong, because what they wanted to do is screw you over by making sure that your answers don't match so they can deny the case. And now they're sending it back to USCIS for revocation.
Right, which is what they did. But after the interview, everything seems fine.
Well, did you and your partner compare notes and say, like, were they asking you questions like what color's the shower head and that kind of stuff?
No, they didn't. No, it was mostly about dates that we kind of got wrong.
Dates like what? When you met each other and when you got married and all that stuff?
All that stuff, yeah.
Well, that's not good.
So, but at the end of the interview, the gentleman said it was fine, basically.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't mean anything. I mean, that obviously they're lying. I mean, everything's not fine when they call in the U.S. citizen for an interview, and then now they're sending it back for revocation. So they don't believe the marriage.
Right. But the marriage is genuine. I mean, I have all kinds of proof that I've sent in to them. I sent in several proof to them that it's marriage.
Okay, great. So what's the question for me?
So my question to you, first of all, the people out there, when you write to your senator, be careful what you say in these letters, because they send a letter direct to them.
Yep, I appreciate that. That's a good point. And actually, you know what? I'll make a TikTok about that. That's good advice.
Yeah, they send whatever letter you write to the senator, they send it directly to them. It's nothing is filtered out or deducted, as they would say. So my question to you is, it's been going on 5 months. Should we do the mandamus, which is suing to get an answer? Isn't that what that is?
Well, so the State Department doesn't necessarily have to tell you why they're denying the case or why they're sending it back, right? So they don't have to do that. So if you're suing to get an answer, that's different than I think what you're talking about is so right now you're caught in this no man's land between the consulate and the USCIS. So what has to happen is they have to send your file back to USCIS. Then USCIS is going to send you a notice of intent to revoke, right? Have you gotten that or no?
Yes, I've gotten that, and we've responded to that with several pages of evidence, a lot of evidence.
To USCIS.
To USCIS.
And as far as you know, USCIS is just sitting on it.
USCIS is just sitting on it. First, they said they didn't receive it. And then when we sent the tracking number and saying, yes, you have it, then they say they receive it, but at a later date than when the tracking number actually said it was received.
So they're all playing games now with you. And so right now, as far as we know, the case is still at USCIS where they're deciding whether or not to revoke your I-130, right?
Right.
And meanwhile, your partner is stuck in the country in South America.
Correct.
Okay. So if we were to do a lawsuit on this kind of a case, we would be suing USCIS and the embassy so that they can't play this game of football back and forth, right? So let me just clarify something. When did you file the original I-130?
It was. Do you want me to give the specific date over the air?
Month and date.
It was in 3/2019.
So you've been waiting roughly 5 years to get your partner a green card.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So if we were to file a lawsuit in federal court, we would sue the State Department and USCIS, and we would say, hey, this guy just wants to bring his partner back to the United States, and they approved his waiver, and they're playing dirty, and they sent it back on a notice of intent. Wait, so you sent the response to the notice of intent to revoke 5 months ago, or that's when it got sent back to USCIS?
No, I sent it 5 months ago.
So when did you guys have the second interview at the embassy?
Was last year.
Right, but like I'm trying to make you look more sympathetic. So I want to know, like, how long has it been for USCIS just to do their job of adjudicating the request to possibly revoke your?
Okay, no, I was just being careful not to say everything on the air, but it was sent back in the summer of last year.
Okay, so last summer was the interview-ish, and then USCIS. Okay, yeah. So I would sue both of them, and I would say they got to quit playing games, and we need to get a decision. Now they could file a motion to dismiss and say there's nothing to see here. They could they could revoke the I-130. I don't think they're going to revoke the I-130. The vast majority of cases that get sent back from the embassy get reaffirmed by USCIS. So I don't think. I mean, there's an outside chance that your discrepancies in your Stokes interview were so high that they say, yeah, the State Department's right. We think this isn't a valid marriage either. Or maybe they send out investigators or do more stuff. So I think there's maybe a 5 to 10% chance of that. I think much more likely we sue them, the case gets sent back to the consulate, and then they say, hey, we need another 30 days or 60 days to adjudicate it. And then we get some kind of a final decision.
Okay. And some kind of final decision, you're saying maybe we have to depend on the State Department because it's up to them, right?
That's right.
Oh, crap. Okay.
And as far as costs, it's $5,500 plus a $405 filing fee. So it's $5,500 plus the $405 filing fee. There's payment plans, or you can save a little if you pay up front, but that's how much it costs.
Okay. Yeah, I'm willing to go that way because I need my husband back in the country, so that's fine.
Okay, great. Send us an email. Say I was on the show with Jim at around the 10-minute mark today, and then we'll follow up.
Okay. Thank you, Jim.
Thanks for the call.
All right. Bye.
I feel like I was wrestling a little bit there. All right. Speaking of, let's have some Faith. Hello, Faith.
Hi, Jim. Thank you for taking my call today.
Of course.
Yeah, I've been trying to talk to you quite a while. So, I'm gonna give you a little bit of my story here.
Great.
So when I came to the US in 2017, apparently at that time I never knew I had kids, you know. Um, so when I came here like 6 months to 8 months down the lane, one of my ex-girlfriends reached out to me and like, she was in trouble because in the the English part of Cameroon there's war and stuff. So she said, well, she's here, she has my children, and she's never made me to know about it because she had some kind of problems with her parents, not liking my tribe when we got the first one, and then the second one, we usually meet casually. We were not very close girlfriends and boyfriends, and she's never told me that, but because she needed to get out of that zone, which was risky. And the second child had cerebral palsy, was diagnosed with cerebral palsy, which was very difficult for her to take care of it. So she began looking for me, and then she reached out to me with that information, and I was like, wow. But at least I knew we had a relation in the past. So I kind of be like, okay. I talked about it with my mom and my brothers. They were like, okay, that's fine, but you can take care of the children, get them out of there. So I got them to the more safer part of Cameroon, and they got a house. So I went back 1 year, and we talked about it, and and I found that truly they were my kids. She had made birth certificates for the kids without my name. So the parents did that. So when I came back here, I told my lawyer. He was like, okay, we gotta do two things. We gotta first of all do a DNA to make sure those were kids, which we did, and they came back, that they were my kids. And so I filed for them, you know, like 2 years after that. Actually went back and
Wait, no, we got to back up. We got to back up though. So, are you a U.S. citizen?
now I'm a green card holder, and I filed for I-400, N400, and I've been approved. I got the approval notice. The oath swearing ceremony is coming up this month on the 21st.
Okay, so did you list those kids on your N400?
Yes, I did.
Did you list them on your 485?
I haven't done a 45. I had done an N300 for them 2 years
No,
ago before.
no, no, no. I'm talking about. I want to know. I want to know. I want to know your immigration history in the United States. When did you come to the United States?
I came here 2017.
What and how many kids are we talking about? Two.
Two, yeah.
And how? What years were they born?
2012 and 2014.
Okay, so and they're with the same mother.
Yeah.
So how could you conceive the child in 2014 and not know about the child from 2012?
Well, like I said, I didn't really have a very strong relationship with the lady. I used to be an auditor, and I used to go around the side of the country where she lives. And, once in a while I go over there, we used to have some relationships.
Oh man.
Um,
So wait, so you're telling me that okay, did you know okay, let's call this kid is it a boy or girl?
Boy and girl,
Who's the older kid?
the boy.
Okay, so let's call him Brad. When you went back in 2014 to hook up with the baby mama, did you know that Brad existed?
I went back only after I came. I came in 2017, and it's in 2018 that I went back.
No, 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 no. No. So you said basically I didn't really hang out that much with the mom. We just hooked up twice, or we hooked up, and she got pregnant with Brad the first time, and she got pregnant with the second kid the second time, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm trying to figure out is when you went back to get busy with her the second time, did you know that there was this kid running around, the first kid?
No.
Like you didn't know she had this kid at all,
No, I didn't know.
and she didn't tell you.
No.
She didn't tell you she didn't tell you she had a kid, or she didn't tell you that the kid was yours.
Well, she didn't tell me the kid was mine,
So you knew there was a kid.
but not my kid. Yeah.
So wait, in 2014, you knew that she had a kid,
Right.
and did you ask her if that was your kid?
Yeah. Ask her. She said no.
Okay, I don't think USCIS is ever going to believe this. Okay, all right. So then how did you get your green card?
So my mom filed for me as a citizen. She was a U.S. citizen and she filed for me.
And were you overseas when she filed for you, or were you
I
in
was
the
overseas. Yeah.
okay? And so when did you get your immigrant visa to come to the United States?
2017.
2017. So that means that on your DS 260, when it says how many children do you have anywhere in the world, you put 0.
Correct.
Okay. All right. And then on your N400, you listed these kids as your kids.
Yeah, I listed those kids as my kids, and apparently I have one adopted child too, so there are three now.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's a different story. Like
Yeah.
that kid. Okay, that's an American kid.
No.
That's a kid back in Cameroon.
Correct.
How old is that kid?
12 years old.
Why did you adopt this kid?
Well, when I met my wife, her mom actually was, a friend to my wife. And then when they came over to the French part of Cameroon where we were living, the mother died.
Mhm.
So my wife ended up, keeping that kid for all these years, and I've been taking care of the kid with my other kids. So, um, while I was thinking about fighting for my wife, I didn't know she's gonna keep those kids. So that child, so I decided to adopt the child. We decided to adopt the child.
Wait, who's your wife?
My wife is in Cameroon.
Is it the mother of the two kids or no?
Yes,
Okay. When did you marry? When did you marry her?
2020.
Okay. And when did you find out that you had these two kids?
I found out I had these two kids like when I was here for like I think like 8 months down the road that I came here.
So
That she reached out to me about that.
that's 2017,
2018.
2018. Okay. All right. So when you filed for a green card for your wife
Yeah, and the two kids.
and the two kids.
Yeah, because I just adopted the other one last in 2020,
And you
23.
listed on the forms you filed for your wife, you listed those kids.
Yeah, I listed the two kids, the two biological kids.
So this officer at your naturalization interview, did they ask you anything about kids?
Yeah, they asked me and I told them, just like I'm telling you, that's what I told them. But I didn't tell them all the lengthy story. I just told them I didn't know I had the kids. The mother told me when I came here because the first one was very sick. She's got cerebral palsy and she had a lot of financial challenges. So he said he was going to review my case, but I just received the mail about my oath ceremony on the 21st of March.
Okay, so what's the question for me?
So the question for you now is, it's been 28 months since I filed the I-130 for my wife and the two kids. So my question is, after my oath ceremony, what can I do to speed this up? Because it's already been more than 24 months.
Well, um, I think that when they finally dig in and figure out the timeline of all this, that they're going to come after your citizenship. I think that in theory, someone can not know about one kid, but the idea that oh, wait a minute, hold on, time out. I just thought of one other thing. You told me you got your immigrant visa through your mother, right?
Yeah,
And you did that in the F2B category as the unmarried son of a green card holder, right?
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. They are going to be 100% convinced that you've been married to you're the mother of your children since 2012. And they're going to come after your green card. They're going to denaturalize you and they're going to come after your green card. Because they're going to say you were having children with this lady, you were living as husband and wife, you were having children, and we think you were married, and that you never should have gotten a green card under the F2B category because you had children.
So Jim, this is what happened. So when I knew about this, when I went back home and I uh, actually looked for a place for them to stay, when I came back and told my lawyer here, my lawyer told me I need to go to Cameroon and file for the court in Cameroon to look into the case. So I went back to Cameroon and I filed the courts. So the courts actually looked into, you know, the issue because those children, my name wasn't even listed on their birth certificates as a parent. So they asked me to do that DNA too, which my lawyer asked. So they used the DNA. They got some, testimonies from people that knew the child and that knew me and whatever. So the court actually ordered that I could father these kids and that my name should be added to the birth certificates, as a
Sure,
biological father.
sure. Yeah, but that has
So
nothing.
I went through that whole process before I actually even filed for them and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
no, I appreciate all that, but you understand that USCIS is not bound by whatever the court in Cameroon concluded, right? They're allowed to make their own determinations. You understand that, right?
Right.
So I'm just telling you, based on my experience and what I've seen, and I even have videos on this, that people get naturalized without this becoming an issue. And when it becomes an issue is when somebody finally digs down, and it might not have happened until you get to the embassy, but when somebody digs down and your wife and kids are sitting there across from the consular official, it might get that far before this all unravels. But I strongly believe that this case will unravel and that they will come after your citizenship, saying that you never should have gotten your green card in the first place. And it's the act of bringing your wife and children here that will seal your fate.
I don't understand. Can you explain a little more? Sorry.
Sure. Okay. So even in that memo that I was talking about earlier in the show, it referenced this phrase. So the phrase is material misrepresentation. Material misrepresentation. Okay. In other words, the government understands that sometimes people make a misrepresentation and it has nothing to do with whether or not they would have gotten these past immigration benefits, right?
Yeah.
So, for instance, let's say that at some point in the future, USCIS thinks I lied about what color my car was, or what color my hair was, or who my roommate was, right?
Yeah.
That's not material. But let's get in our little time machine and let's look at your case through the way that they're going to look at your case, okay?
Yeah.
So your mom filed an I-130 petition for you. And on that I-130 petition, she said that you were single.
Correct.
And you then filled out a DS-160 and you said that you were single.
Correct.
And you didn't list kids that were born in 2012 and 2014.
Correct.
So if you had listed those children on your DS-160, or your DS-260, I should say, when you got your green card to come to the United States, the consular official might not have given you the immigrant visa because they would have investigated or could have investigated the situation between you and their mother and concluded that even though you guys are all acting like you're the unmarried son of an LPR, that in fact you're the married son of an LPR having children. And the fact that you did not disclose those children was a material misrepresentation. And for that, if you cut off the question, the phrase that they use is, did Faith cut off a legitimate line of inquiry? And I think there's not a doubt in my mind that they're going to say unlisted children, especially born 2 years apart, where, in other words, you're having a long-term relationship with this person, even though I believe you when you say you were just hooking up, they're never, ever going to believe that. They're going to think that was your spouse and that you were a spouse in everything but formality. It's the second kid that really seals your fate. So what's going to happen is, so then your case is going to get to an interview at the embassy, and when it gets to the embassy, an asylum or a consular official is going to take the approach that I just did, and they're going to say, "Holy crap, this guy should not be a citizen. This guy never should have gotten his green card. We're going to denaturalize this guy. We're going to file an action in federal court, and we're going to ask a judge to strip him of his citizenship and then take away his green card because he never should have gotten it because he was married and having children with this woman that he later applied for." Does that make sense? Because that's what's going to happen. I might be wrong. You might skate by, but I've seen plenty of these scenarios, at least in my career as an attorney, at least 40 times. I've seen people after their citizenship apply for these kids that were never listed or were late listed. I mean, you have some good arguments if you do get denaturalized. You said, look, you morons, I listed these kids on my N400. You could have inquired at my naturalization interview more about it, but you didn't, and you went ahead and naturalized me. That would be a good argument. But at the end of the day, they're going to say, that might be true, Judge, but he never should have been in the United States. He never should have gotten his green card because he was in the wrong line. He lied to us, and his mom lied to us, and they said he was single when he was in fact having multiple children with the same woman who we think was his wife. So I think that's the long-term future of this case.
So what's your best advice for me now? I don't know.
Well, you have to make the
because I told the immigration, at my interview, I made it very clear to them that was the situation. I talked to them about it, So I got the letter for my swear oath ceremony in the next 3 weeks. So
did you? Yeah, I know. I'm just telling you. I mean,
because I knew if I don't make it clear to them, they might come back after me. So I said, well, let me be open to them at this point and let them have it down in record that I said this.
So I would assume that your interview was not recorded, right?
It was recorded.
Was it?
Yeah.
So that's good. So, I mean, I think you're in a tough spot because you have to either say, I'm going to stay here as a citizen, or I'm going to, I mean, what's going to raise this issue is keep pushing on your wife's case. And that's when it's all going to unravel. So you have to ask yourself, do I want to keep pushing on bringing them here to the United States? I assume that you do. But
yeah, I do, because like I said, the second daughter, she's really sick. She's got cerebral palsy. We've been managing, very poor medical attention for the past 8 years, I think. So I think she's going to get better help here.
Sure. I understand that. I hope it all works out. Feel free to let us know if you need more help later. But for now, I think you go ahead and naturalize. It sounds like you disclosed it at your naturalization. And so you just go forward and see what happens.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Good luck.
Thank you. So just one last question before I go. So if I want to get back to you, maybe if I get into an issue in future and I want you to handle the case for me, I don't know how to get to you because I tried to call your office and they were like, you guys don't do legal representation. I don't know.
No, you just got to say, we want to, the way to get the attention of the intake team is, I want to hire your firm to be my lawyer. That's what you put in the title. That's how you do it. But if you just call up with convoluted scenarios like this and there's not something like you want us to take over, then they're not going to let you talk to us.
Okay.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
See ya. Top Guard, hello.
Oh, hello, Jim. It's such a pleasure to finally talk to you. I've been watching so many of your videos recently.
Awesome. Thanks for watching.
I had a couple questions. Just the live videos. I already went through most of the other ones. Couple questions. All right, so I'll give you the rundown. So I met my girlfriend, well, my fiance now, in the end of November. So when I met her, we were talking, and then eventually we got to my visa is out of status. So she came from having a modeling contest in Puerto Rico, and then she flew to New York to meet some family members, some friends from here, and we started dating. Couple months fast forward, we're getting married the 7th of February, but I had a couple concerns, and it was we want to get married and then get her green card and stuff. So first was the out of status thing, and then second was the lack of history. So I'm scared when we file, we're not gonna have enough evidence to show history between our marriage. So I'm scared like we're gonna go through the whole process and they're gonna I don't know, deny it. I don't know. I'm new to this whole immigration thing, so I've
Okay,
just been studying a little bit.
Well, you came to the right place. So let's sort of walk through it. So just to be clear, you're a U.S. citizen.
Yes.
And when was the first time? We're going to call your fiance Lolita.
Okay.
Lolita. When did you first? Or we'll call her Lola. When was the first time that you ever knew Lola existed in the world?
November 31st is when we first met.
So basically December.
Yes.
No. So how did you meet?
So she was at a friend's house close in my hometown, and I was leaving a friend's house and I seen her. So I seen her and I'm like, okay, well, I've been here my whole life. I've never seen her, so I decided to go talk to her. And
Somebody new in the house.
we went from there. So I took her out to lunch and then we talked for a couple months, and my first initial thought was, okay, we have a situation here that can either make our relationship harder or we can start heading in the right direction and make it easier with, what I'm saying, getting her green card and having the Social Security and all that good stuff to make her a legal citizen.
But mostly you loved her and wanted to get married.
Yes. And I was really worried about our situation and her being out of status. So I went head on into, okay, how do we solve this?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where now I'm kind of getting worried about, like, maybe they'll think that's what we're in it for. But I talked to one of your attorneys today for a call, Daniel. And
Daniel's not an attorney, but he is on our team,
or
and
the intake specialist.
He knows more than many attorneys. But yes,
Yeah, I told him I'm just pretty much a nervous Nancy about the whole thing, and
well, I think that's good. I mean, I think that's good. So what state do you live in?
New York.
Okay, so since you met on the last day of November, has she gone back to wherever she was staying before?
No, she's from Dominican Republic.
And so she's been in New York. And then when are you thinking about getting married?
We get married the 7th of February.
And how long has she been in the United States?
When I met her, she was 3 months out of status. So about maybe 9 months, maybe.
And she came on a visit visa?
Yes, to Puerto Rico for a modeling agency, and then she flew to New York for her friends and family members.
Okay. So, and when did you say get married? February 7th?
Yes.
So, in essence, you're getting married 9 weeks after you met face to face.
Sort of. I've known her what was it, 3 months? Was it November or October? Maybe I think the end of October.
Well, that's Halloween, so that would be memorable.
Yeah.
So first of all, we got to make sure we nail down our dates, right? If you go in and answer questions at USCIS like this, they'll get you.
Right. And I'm trying to get everything in my head right, but I'm also trying not to worry as much because that could make it a little worse just going into the whole thing.
So, if an immigration officer were to ask you, why did you get married so fast? What would you say?
I mean, we fell for. I mean, it started with we had to get the intellectuals down to make sure we could be on the same page in a relationship, but most of the time I'm worried about her getting in trouble or her being able to go to the hospital or get insurance or anything like that. So I don't know, and that's why I'm kind of worried. It's like if they feel like I'm rushing the process. I'm afraid we could get in trouble or something. But
not in trouble, but just denied. Like
right, no, right.
it seems really, really fast. But TNT to the H down says the right thing because you fell in love, dude. So I mean, let's pretend Kamala won the election.
Right.
If Kamala won the election, would you be getting married on February 7th?
Yes. I mean, yes. Like I want a full life with the girl. We've talked about where we want to move and what we want in life and our moral ground and and our personal development and stuff like that. And it's all great. She's great. She has a good moral standing. She loves helping kids. She's done a bunch of events, and she has a bunch of adults that trust her, either where like here or where she's from. So it's like I trust her, and I want to build with her and all that good stuff.
Here's a question: why didn't she leave on time?
I'm not too sure. There's a straightforward answer on that. And that's another problem I'm having. It's she wanted to stay with her friends, or she wanted to get to all the sightseeing, go to the city and stuff like that, and get a feel for America itself. But I'm not too sure how to answer that question.
So when you apply, eventually you're going to have an interview, and they're probably going to separate you. And just so you know, since you said you're sort of new to the process, that when someone's out of status and they get married to a U.S. citizen, that's on their fraud checklist, right? So they just assume that she doesn't give a crap about you, and that she's really just marrying you for the green card.
Right.
So you're going to have sort of a high burden, and getting married quickly. I mean, the sad thing is the case is going to take a while because Trump's going to slow things down. So you can develop evidence over time. But I would suggest that you and she hire an attorney to help you through this process, because I think that the framing of the quick marriage is going to be the key to the whole thing. And if I were your attorneys, I would come after both of you pretty hard in practice to show you what it's going to be like with an immigration officer. One thing you might check out and then maybe call us back is, have you seen on my YouTube channel when my wife Amani acts like an immigration officer?
I don't think I've seen that. I've heard you talk about her and how really she really gets into the feel of things. And
so watch that. I would say you and she should watch that. I might slow your ride a little bit. I know that on the one hand, you know, she's subject to getting deported by ICE because she's a visa overstay.
Right.
But on the other hand, the long-term game is you want to get her status and a green card. And if you file a really thin, quickie marriage case when she's out of status, that might be tough.
Right. And another besides we'll have to get through that part, but besides that, currently I worked 2023, but I didn't work all of 2024, so we'll need a joint sponsor. Now, one of the attorneys that I had, they were saying to file, well, not to file yet, or either file and not put it into the evidence yet, or to put in my 2023 tax return and see if they ask for my 2024. But I don't want them to feel like I'm trying to get over on them that way, because my mom is going to joint sponsor us, but I won't have income shown. It'll be zero.
So have you filed tax returns for 2023, 2022, and 2021?
Yes.
And you didn't make enough money?
No, not for 2023. Yes, for 2022, no, and for 2021, yes.
So that's why you have a co-sponsor. That's what solves that problem.
Okay. Another thing was, so I have a couple large deposits on my bank statements from Cash App. So we would do, me and my friends, I would either give them cash for Cash App so they can pay rent or do whatever they do. And then I had money coming through on there, which I would just either save or just deposit it in lump sums onto my bank account. So the fact that I didn't work last year, it shows income on my bank statement, of course, but I didn't make anything. Do you think that would raise any flags to an immigration officer? Like, where did this income come from? And I won't really have a solid answer because it's all over the place.
So that sounds like unreported income to me, and that sounds like something that they would be interested in, and that's something you should talk to an accountant about.
Right, okay. Because it's about, I mean, I've used Cash App for about 3 years now, so it's that would be a long list of transactions and money swapping between me and my friends that I'd have to explain a whole list of transactions about, which either I have another bank account that I don't use as frequently, but it's not too much history on there. I'm not sure if they'll want a different bank account or more bank accounts to look at. I'm not sure, but I don't want it to seem like I'm trying to do anything funny for the sake of making sure the petition goes well.
All right. Well, good luck, Top Guard. We'll see you later. All right. He had a lot of questions. I think he's just getting started. I think he's going to need some help. And it sounds from the comments like you guys think so too. Well, there you have it. Another edition of the Best of the Immigration Answers Show. Again, my name is Jim Hacking. I'm an immigration attorney practicing law throughout the United States, out of our offices in St. Louis, San Diego, and Washington, D.C. If you want to get a hold of us at the firm, you can email us info@hackingimmigrationlaw.com, or you can call us at 314-961-8200. You also can join our free Facebook group. It's called Immigrant Home. We'd love to have you join us there. There's thousands of immigrants talking about the immigration process in there every single day. We also have our YouTube channel where you can subscribe to see all of our videos and to get alerted whenever we go live, whenever we're going to record another episode of the Immigration Answer Show. Maybe you could be a guest and ask us a question. Finally, if you're not following us on TikTok, we suggest you do at Immigration Hacking. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.